Welcome back to another episode of On the Subject. I'm your host, Michael Vilardo, co-founder and CEO of Subject. You can find us at subject.com. And please, again, like, subscribe. We're really pushing YouTube and Spotify content. So if you could like and subscribe on both Spotify and YouTube, we'd greatly appreciate it. And today we have a real special episode because we really want to be non-dependent on guests. We love guests. We love being able to interact with the best talents across sports, entertainment, education. We also just want to have an incredible show where we add value to you, the listener. We want to provide value to you in your life, entertainment, educational content. And so we want to be able to develop a podcast where I can host episodes with my incredible co-host today, Ana Romero. So Ana Romero, we want to introduce now because we believe she'll be a return of the pod depending on her performance today. She is the chief of staff at Subject. She's been here nearly 3 years. Prior to Subject, she was a teacher at LAUSD, which again, teachers and coaches are the heroes of society. We all know that. And if you don't, let's revere all our teachers and coaches and thank them for how much they've helped us in life. And Ana is a LA native. She is from Mid-City originally, and now she claims Compton. So huge Kendrick Lamar fan. And we'll have to dive into that on the pod. We're super excited to be able to learn more about each other and be able to provide you with some good entertainment. Welcome to the show today, Ana.
Thanks, Michael. What an intro.
It's a great intro. And so we talk about education, we talk about entertainment, talk about technology. We really view ourselves at Subject as the intersection of all of them. Where do you see Subject being able to improve the product the most across those three levers?
Gosh. I would say everywhere, and I don't know if that's like
That is very non-descriptive. Let's get some more opinionated responses out of Anna so that way we can have more clickbait and more opportunities to get more fans. Again, like and subscribe below. How much were you paid at LUSD?
This is public information.
Yes, see, she's not shy. She wants to brag about it. Let's go.
My starting salary was $52,000.
Okay.
This was
So-
in 2015.
So 52,000
No,
for Anna.
sorry, 2019.
I was like, wow, you really aged.
Whoa,
Yeah.
2019, yeah.
She's claiming to be over 40 years old now, everyone. No, just kidding. Anna's still in her 20s, and shout out to Anna. She's an incredible young talent and work for Subject. So incredibly thankful for all that you've done. So Anna made 52,000 at LAUSD as an entry-level teacher. So let's talk about that here on the podcast today. We are huge at Subject about not believing in work-life balance. We're all about work as much as possible, be able to help as many students as possible, and hopefully be able to make as much money as possible for your family and have a great life. But I really want to make sure I can clarify one point here, and I wanted to lead with that $52,000. I do believe in work-life balance if you are not paid appropriately. However, teachers are worked so much to the bone, and it's super unfair to them. How many hours a week were you working when you were teaching?
My first year, and most people know this, first year teacher, I think you work more because you don't know what you're doing. So I'd say about 55 to 60 hours a week.
And all in person?
No, you do work at home, you prep at home, or you stay after school a little longer. Yeah.
So teachers, again, heroes of society, they're staying up late at night grading papers. They're getting up early to lesson plan and getting paid $52,000 a year. Keep in mind, in LA, the average one-bedroom apartment is nearly $3,000, maybe even more in rent. Let's make sure we could fact-check that after the pod. And so to make $52,000 in LA is extremely tough to live. Thankfully, Anna's from LA, so she was able to live with her parents. But if you didn't have your parents, where could you have lived? You probably would have had to live over an hour away from your school.
I would say most of the first year teachers at LAUSD, they either had a roommate or they were living with their families. Most of my friends were living with families.
So I think that's why I want to really make sure clarity. I do not believe in work-life balance for Subject. And some people are like, oh my goodness, like what are you talking? No, I believe in payment for top performance. Not claiming we pay anyone $1 million because we don't. I want to make sure that's not clickbait. But like I had posed on social media before, if you were paid $1 million, would you work 100 hours a week? Would you?
I would.
So I think a lot of people would. And so those are the people we want to work at Subject. Not everyone would. Not everyone would. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so if you want work-life balance, you deserve it. And you got to go chase that dream. The problem is teachers are paid poorly and they don't get the work-life balance. They're working 55 to 60 hours a week. And it's such a stressful job. We need to increase teacher pay to at least $200,000 a year, or we got to give them work-life balance. And so that's what we're really helping with Subject. We want to save teachers over 500 hours a year by using our product. We do all the grading for them. We do a lot of the direct teaching for them. We want to be their co-pilot, their best friend that gives them more work-life balance. Because if you're not getting paid appropriately, You need to make sure you have hours in your day for yourself, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's your hobbies, whether it's a passion, spending time with family, friends, loved ones. I totally believe in work-life balance if the pay reflects that. However, if you're getting paid top dollar, you should be working as many hours as possible, and I'm a firm believer in that. And so, what did surprise you the most coming to subject? Were you surprised by the no work-life balance? Were you surprised by the cultural melting pot it is, having 3 different industries blended into one?
At first, I think I was most surprised by the lack of micromanagement that there was here in schools. I'm sure a lot of teachers can relate. You're extremely micromanaged. What you teach, what curriculum you use, what lessons you use. You have parents coming into your classroom, principals, co-teachers, everyone, and they want to make sure they know what they're doing. And sometimes the results aren't even speaking for themselves. You're using the curriculum that hasn't been working for 3 years, but you have to use it because the district is mandating it. And so when I came here, and it was like, Michael, you were my boss, and it was
Still
like,
am.
you still are. And it was like, here's your to-do list. You gotta have it done by the end of the week, and that was it. And I thought that was crazy.
So you don't believe in micromanagement?
I don't. I don't. I think you do a great job at this and you check in, hey, how's it going? And need any help? But I think that's very different from show me how you're doing that, show me why you're doing that, etc.
Would you say the same applies to a student? We don't need to micromanage a student, that we need to help students fall in love with learning?
100%.
Yeah, I think it's so important. We need to help people fall in love with learning. And that's different for different people. Some might want to be working in woodshop class, or become a plumber one day, which are incredible careers to provide for your family. Others might want to be a software engineer. But you need to learn how to learn and take agency over your own education. When school and society is telling you you have to know this, this, and this by this age, does it really provide the most successful adults? I don't believe so. And so that's why I'm so excited to work with some of the incredible and innovative educators we work with today, and have so many incredible educators like Anna work in the side of the company, because this allows for us to have a much better product and be able to impact more people. And so let's talk more about the scene in LA. And so you're from LA, you've been here a long time. We work in LA. We're a really passionate LA based company. What do you think is the best place to be able to go to school in terms of college in Los Angeles? Are you a UCLA person, USC? I know you went to LMU. Like, how did you maneuver to LMU? What made you want to go there?
I did LMU because it was, well, actually, all of them are very close to home. I didn't get into USC or UCLA, so I guess that
So
narrowed
you
down
did
the
apply
choice
to
for
all
me.
3.
I didn't apply to USC. It was way too expensive. I knew I was not going to be able to afford it. Didn't even try. And I had to pay for my application, so I wasn't going to waste money there. UCLA,
How much do applications cost?
I can't remember. It was probably about $100. Yeah, but if I mean you add all these
Yeah, no,
applications up as a high
I
schooler.
appreciate it. So, like, think about that for all the young people listening out there. And that's one of the best parts about living in California. And of course, there's some pros, some cons, a very polarizing state. I think it would be universally agreed upon in an unbiased way that the UC system is the top ranked public school system in the country. You have UCLA, which is largely considered the #1 public school in the world. Berkeley, which is a close second. UC Berkeley, very highly ranked public school. UC Irvine is usually ranked in the top 30 on US News. UC Santa Barbara is right around high 20s, low 30s. Again, fact check me at home. Feel free. US News, best list to look to for college rankings. So you're talking about 4 schools in the and UC San Diego. Let's not forget. My apologies. We actually have a hire from UC San Diego. Incredible school, especially for computer science. So you have 5 schools that I know for a fact are top 40 in the entire country in your state that you can get in-state tuition. But you didn't choose any of these. You decided to go to private school, yet you're complaining about $100 application fee. So let's hear what the decision there happened.
LMU was very gracious with the amount of financial aid that they gave me.
Learn about financial aid,
yes.
everyone. You can get so much money. It can help you get a great education.
Very gracious there. But we've talked about this, Michael, and how important it is to build a network. And I knew I wanted to live in Los Angeles after college. I don't know how I knew this or why I knew this, but I knew I needed to stay in LA to grow a network. And so that was a big part of it. I did visit northern campuses, and frankly, I wasn't a big fan of Northern California.
She's very coastal elite here, but doesn't like northern coastal elites, only SoCal. No, I think Anna's exactly right. And that's what I really advise any listeners out there as well, is Go to school where you want to live after school. It's so important. It helps your network so much. I went to Penn undergrad, incredible institution, go Quakers. All my friends went to mostly New York and Philadelphia. I came back to Chicago. I didn't benefit off the network nearly as much as my MBA, where I got my MBA at UCLA. Go UCLA, Anderson, proud alum, proud board member. And now I live in Los Angeles. I benefit every single day off of the network I built at UCLA. Whereas Penn, which arguably it's ranked a higher school slightly, and they're both great institutions, I did not benefit off the network because I didn't stay in New York or Philly. Not many Penn alums in Chicago. One of the tips I put out there to all the fans is go to school's LinkedIn page. It's so great. This was data that wasn't as readily available 15, 20 years ago. You go to one of these schools' LinkedIn page and you scroll over to the alumni tab, you can see what cities people are living in. And then you can even reach out to those folks. But the point is, you can get a quick snapshot. Okay, here's the 3 cities that are the top 3 feeders from the school. Penn, Chicago, not even in the top 5. And so that was a mistake on my end that I could have got more out of my experience. And so when you're applying to schools, the 2 pieces that I would suggest, there's 2. One, look at the U.S. News and apply to the best schools that you believe you could possibly get into, and cross-reference it with cities that you want to live in and see yourself in afterwards. And so there's a huge mix of opportunities there. I think that's great that you were intentional about LMU. When you went into teaching, what made you so passionate? It sounds like it was a dream of yours your whole life about helping students and making their lives better.
I have always admired my teachers. They were instrumental in everything. My parents were immigrants, and so they really relied on teachers to help them navigate the school system, and everything from like applying to healthcare, Medicare, and those social services. So to me, teachers were part of the community and they were more than just my classroom teachers. So I wanted to contribute and be a part of that.
Yeah, teachers and coaches are almost an extension of parenthood, and that's why we appreciate them so much, and they're the heroes of society. What classes do you think in high school were a complete waste of time?
We talked about math. Some of
Oh, wow,
these math
math.
courses.
Hot
I've
take
changed. I've
here.
changed my opinion on math. Yeah,
Okay,
I'd
why?
say
Because
after.
AI or ChatGPT, or like, why do you say math's a waste? That's not where I was expecting you to go with this conversation.
Yeah, I don't use statistics. I was really bad at it. I use Claude for everything. Shout out Anthropic. So
She doesn't like OpenAI. Sorry, Sam Altman. She's all about Anthropic. I mean, okay, I like where you're going with this. For me, I would have said science. Now, if I was a doctor, completely disagree. But for me, what I do every day, I haven't used science in my career potentially ever.
How high in those science courses did you get? Because I didn't get that far.
Well, we're talking about high school right here. And most states, I believe, require 3 years of science to graduate. That was at least the
Yeah.
case in Illinois. 3 years for graduating from high school of science. And I was in the honors classes, so I was honors biology freshman year, honors chemistry sophomore year. And I actually didn't mind the classes because I will say, and this is the benefit of learning, it taught you how to study. It really taught you how to study and learn something, especially if you weren't that passionate about it, which I really appreciate that. And I had some really great teachers. Shout out Miss Carlson. I remember her. She was incredible and really helped me quite a bit with honors biology. But I don't think I use any science or have ever used science in any of my jobs I've ever had in my life, including internships. And again, that's why I'm so passionate about in high school. If a student hates a subject, now we don't want them to game the system and say they hate every subject. So let's not fall for this or try to be able to pick a point in the argument. It's more so saying if there's one subject that they can for sure eliminate and then double up on their favorite subject, why not do that? We got to do this more. We got to help students fall in love with learning and get exceptional at 1 or 2 things. Being a specialist or a niche focused skill set is so much more monetizable for that person as an adult. And I just really want to help more students.
Yeah, and we were actually speaking to a group of UC Berkeley students, and we shared this with them. And one of their pieces of feedback or their opinion was, so what do you say about students who never get to find out of an alternative passion because they weren't forced to take a course that they might have not otherwise have taken?
So could you repeat that bit? So why they're not forced to take a course?
Yeah, like how would a student, if they're not forced to take science, how would
But
they?
why would they not be forced in elementary school or middle school? I'm speaking high school only. I don't believe the first time you ever took science was high school, was it? Is that the California education?
I don't remember much of my science in elementary. I think I
You
started in middle
definitely took
school. I
you de-
definitely did,
you
but I
definitely
don't
got
think it
exposed,
was
and that's what
formative. Yeah.
and that's why I want to be really careful with our words here. I am not making any comments on elementary and middle school today. It's all high school. All we do at Subject is now grades 8 through 12. We do think we'll expand to grades 6 and 7 shortly, but it's 8 through 12, laser focused, and those grades, you are exposed to all the subjects before then. And in fact, at my school, I didn't even get to take a foreign language till high school because we were doing all these core courses all the way in elementary and middle school. And so being able to better understand what your superpowers are earlier in life, I think is
Mhm.
super important. And so I would have loved to take more business classes in high school. I would have loved to take a computer science course, to your point, getting exposed more. These electives you don't get exposed to because you're forced to take these core classes. And so I'm really passionate about let's abandon core. Again, not speaking elementary, middle school, but high school. Let's make it more collegiate.
Yeah.
Let's make it more collegiate. And even college, we need to have people focus more on their electives. Let's bring, when I was at Penn, and again, I had a great experience there, but I was a student athlete. I took some classes that were just guaranteed easy A's, as did many athletes, as did many students.
Mhm.
I took a class called forensics in the nursing school where you had to write 2 papers and basically get an A in the class. Was that the best use of my time at Penn and helping me become a better business person? Absolutely not. It was the easy way out. And so if we were helping students not find easy pathways, not be required to take certain courses, we can help them fall in love with learning.
Yeah. Okay, hot take. Do you think foreign languages are a waste in high school?
Trying to put me on the spot here. Well, as someone who grew up with a fluent Spanish mother, and my brother is nearly fluent in Spanish as well, I am not. Shout out to both of them. They're incredibly talented and far more, artistic and cultural than I am. And so I love being able to learn from them. I have not found a ton of disadvantage in life not having a foreign language. I know that everyone wants everyone to understand so many facets of the world, as do I. We're extremely privileged, and I'll acknowledge that we live in the US and English is truly the business language. English is the language that most business people speak. And so for me, and I think I've even said it to you, I would rather, and this is extremely utilitarian, so let's be able to walk through it slowly, type faster and speak more financially literate. I believe both those skills provide way more value in my career than knowing an additional language. What about you?
I I I agree, and this is coming from a very privileged person who grew up in the United States, who learned how to speak English. Would it be true for a student elsewhere?
Potentially not, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm acknowledging that reality.
Yeah.
But being someone who's in the U.S. and most likely, I don't see myself ever living anywhere else other than the United States. Not everyone is that way, and
Mhm.
I didn't get the chance to study abroad in college. Wish I would have.
Mhm.
That's such a cool opportunity. But as someone who's going to be a lifelong American, speaking another language doesn't add nearly as much value as learning more about business for me. And again, this kind of touches on that point earlier. How do we help students? Maybe a student wants to go to 60 countries around the world. Learning another language for them would be so important and
Yeah.
valuable and so much fun, and they get to practice it and use it.
Mhm.
That's what we want education to become, a facility for learning. And so today I learn every minute. Right now I'm watching 5 YouTube videos while I type up all my email responses for the week. I am always trying to learn, and what we're trying to do here and try to share that passion is help high school become more of a facility for learning,
Mhm.
not checking boxes that someone in the 1800s deemed was required for a 17, 18-year-old to be able to
Mhm.
prove out, to be able to move through the K-12 system.
Yeah. I will say though, for languages, I'm a big advocate of bilingual education and starting it earlier where it's easier for a student to be able to grow. I think it's almost a waste for a student to take 2 years in high school versus if they had a bilingual education starting in elementary school.
So you're basically saying what we had mentioned is it's the best is to become an expert at anything, not dabble in just something random. If you're
Hmm.
going to do something, do it all the way. I completely
Hmm.
agree. What's the benefit of starting kids in Cary, Illinois, taking a foreign language, and they hopefully have changed this by now, your freshman year of high school, versus saying, hey, you're just
Yeah.
never going to be fluent at the language. Let's have you just triple down on these other subjects.
Hmm.
Start early and be
Yeah.
ready to dominate at whatever you do. If you find a passion, if you were the best garbage person in the entire world, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Find what you're passionate about and do it better than everybody else. Don't do things half-baked. It's a waste of time for you. It's a waste of time for the educator and the coach. Be the best at what you love the most. I completely agree. And so when we talk about that and we talk about how you get better at certain skill sets, you did not have much business education, and now you're in a very business intensive role. How did you learn the skills? Who taught you?
You.
Well, I'm not looking for that. Like, let's I appreciate that. But so
Yeah.
doesn't
No.
matter if
Let
it's
me.
me or not. Let's say people taught you, a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what it's proven. And again, this is not about me and her. This is about learning. It is proven statistically that one-on-one tutoring, and you can bring it to any industry then, one-on-one coaching, if you're in baseball, one-on-one mentorship for, a musician, one-on-one time is the most impactful piece you can do for any learning. One-on-one in-person time, especially. I'm very passionate about in-person. It is different than doing virtual. One-on-one in-person mentorship is the most powerful impact for anybody's learning curve. And that's another reason why we really care about what we're doing at Subject, because it's impossible to have one-on-one time with all your students. Some of these schools have a 30, 40, if not 50 to 1 student to teacher ratio. How am I going to get time in a 45-minute class period with 50 students? You're just not. But if you could, it would help students so much, because most people can't afford one-on-one tutoring. And that's where you see the what we're here at Subject trying to prove is equity and opportunity. Outcomes are going to change differently, and you got to put the work in. But equity and opportunity, that is the problem we're fighting here at Subject. And we want to make sure no matter what zip code you're born into, you have that equity of opportunity. And I know you're really passionate about that as well.
100% practice over theory. We say it all the time. I think I've gotten a mini MBA here in my last 3 years.
Yeah, no, I like that's a good push there. And I think when you talk about the mini MBA, I got an MBA. We have a couple people who have MBAs, but not everyone has an MBA here. I think the MBA and JD can be valuable for sure. I think most masters are a complete waste of time and money. I will fully say that most master's degrees are a complete waste of time and money, as are PhDs. MBA and JD, I still see value in. Bachelor's degree, I definitely see a lot of value in. But again, the most important degree you can get is your high school degree. High school degree is so important. There's a stigma looked upon people who don't have a high school degree, whether that's right or wrong. And I totally empathize. There's high school dropouts that can be super successful and incredible human beings. But your high school degree is so important, and it dictates what college you go to. And I always push with you as a joke, but half truth as well. Not half truth, excuse me. Let me tell you like a full truth. When have I or any leadership here has ever checked the GPA of any of our employees?
I hope no one ever does.
I've never done it. I'll come out.
I know one here.
You got me.
Subject
Never
has.
have checked the GPA of anyone. But I will say too, rarely even check the major. Always check the university. I know every single university that every employee that has ever worked at Subject has gone to. I don't know any of their GPAs, and I know very few of their majors.
Yeah, and I'm saying I hope other companies don't. I don't think it should matter. I don't think it does matter. Again, unfortunately, logos speak for themselves.
Well, it's because everything in life, there's such a grab for attention, and the shorter time it takes you to be able to communicate value, the more effective you can be. And so that's why the Harvard brand is so big, because you can just say like, oh, I went to Harvard, and they instantly believe that you're super intellectual. Rather than if you were to say you went to some random school in the middle of the country, it has the instant brand recognition. And so you don't have to explain further accomplishments to get in the door of the conversation. Is that right? Is that wrong? We don't make up the rules. We play by the rules. And so we're just acknowledging that, and we want to help more students. And that's why I can't stress enough. The biggest thing, you have to have that high school degree, because as soon as you say, oh, I didn't finish my high school, sometimes people will look down upon you. And that's so wrong. And that's very righteous. And we don't agree with it, but it's just a fact of the matter. And so we want to help every student graduate high school, and whatever we can do to help those students have a better, successful life, we're here to make it happen. And so that's why I'm a big proponent as well of community college. I'm a community college alum, super proud of it. Actually went to 2 community colleges. When you go to community college, no one asks you, if you end up going to a 4-year university, where you went to community college. No one asks me, oh, you're a McHenry County College alum. No, you're a UPenn alum. You're a UCLA MBA alum. Well, I actually have 3 degrees. One's an associate's. Nobody cares. And that's okay. The point is, you are better off going to a community college and then a more elite four-year university than rushing to go to college because you want to party with your friends. Don't fall for that.
100%. My brother did it the right way. Saved the family a ton of money, did community college, and went to a UC. Better school than I did.
So why did he do that instead of you? Did he learn from you, or what was the idea?
One, he learned from me. Two, he knew he had a second opportunity after high school to do a much better job, and he crushed it.
Yeah, no, I really shout out my dad. He did the junior college route as well, and he did 2 junior colleges. And so, like father, like son, I was very lucky to learn from him and realize that, hey, go to the community college route. It doesn't matter. It's what your 4-year degree is from, and you save a ton of money, and you actually learn a lot more about yourself. And so that's really important. So when we're reflecting about ourselves, another piece I want to talk about, you're from LA and now you live in Compton. What's your stance on the Kendrick Drake beef? Let's hear your take.
Kendrick won, hands down. And Kendrick won because of how popular the song is. It streams everywhere. I don't think any of Drake's diss songs were ever really streamed. This is just popular radio. But I will
This is
say,
someone who's never lived outside LA County, everyone. And so
No,
her
we
entire
were-
feed is only people
we
who
were
live
in
in LA.
Indiana everyone. We were in Indiana this week, and I was driving by. I heard 2 people drive by with the Kendrick song.
Sounds like a lot of confirmation bias.
Okay. I will say, though, I don't think we're giving enough credit to Mustard. I think without the beat for Not Like Us, it just wouldn't have been the same. So a lot of credit to Mustard.
So you think a producer can make an artist more than we give it credit?
100%. 100%.
So would you say similarly for a TV show, like a screenwriter or director or producer, they're helping the show go on even more than potentially the actor or actress?
Gosh, I don't know. I would say so. It's a team effort.
It is a team effort.
Yeah.
And so like that's why we really care a lot about this at Subject. It is a team effort. We use multiple teachers, we use multiple producers, multiple directors. It is a team effort. If you're not putting a team together, it's impossibly successful. And that's what we do at Subject. We're a championship team mentality, a lot like sports. You can't win with just one person. You can't be a one-person team. And so shout out to Anna's extremely biased views.
Okay, well,
But
let's circle
she's
back.
saying that the producer and Kendrick together, though, as a team, did a lot of great work.
Let's
and I
circle
appreciate
back.
teammates.
What's your take?
My take, I stay very agnostic, so that way I can stay excited by all parties involved. I respect greatness. Both are incredible talents. And, I think it's really cool to be able to see them flock and fly. But I do always appreciate how pro LA Anna is. Very coastal elite. So what's your thought now on the Midwest, now that you go there a lot? Is that tough for you? Could leave in LA for a couple minutes?
I think the way you painted the Midwest, Michael, was not very
I
representative.
mean, that's where I'm from. It's beautiful. This
I
is what I
really
grew
have
up with.
enjoyed my time in the Midwest. For everyone, I've done now Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana.
You almost hit Iowa.
We almost hit Kentucky.
Yeah, why aren't you striving to hit better numbers? You could hit both states.
I really like the farmlands. I love the views. Really peaceful drives, better than LA traffic. Yeah, Indianapolis is beautiful. Detroit is beautiful. Chicago has been my favorite by far.
So do you like Chicago better than New York?
I do.
How come? What makes it better for you?
It's way cleaner. It's nicer. The weather is better. To be fair, I've only been to New York when it's been excruciatingly hot. Way too many rats. Yeah.
You're not a rat fan. I respect that. And so, while we try to tidy this up and be able to bring close this episode, I have 2 last questions I really just want to engage you with. And so, if you were forced to live anywhere outside of California in the country, where would you live and why?
In the United States?
Yes.
So I've only been to a few states. I've only done Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, New Mexico. I probably
So pretty much all through Subject, everyone.
do. Thank you,
we
Subject.
really help these
You've
employees.
You've sponsored a lot of my
We
out
help
of California.
we help the employees get an incredible perspective on life.
Cultured. I've been a lot more cultured since my time here. I'd probably say Chicago, and again, we talk about network. I really love the city. I think it's nicer than LA. I think it's prettier than LA. I don't think it has as many cool things as LA, but I'd probably do Chicago.
Okay, very well perspective. And so if you had unlimited money and resources and you were to send your children to a school in the US for college, where would it be and why?
See, I'm not a logo chaser, so
That's
this is
fine.
a
Then that's
hard
fine. Then
question for
that's
me.
fine. Then
Yeah.
then answer it again.
I think
Authenticity. There's no problem.
I think I'd encourage them to look at the top 100
Be
list.
more specific. This is not letting you get away with that. Money
They
isn't
could
a
get
resource.
in
They get it anywhere in the world. Yep.
anywhere in the world. Oh gosh. I like UCLA. I think I'd probably do UCLA. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Why?
It's in LA, so we talk about network. I think a lot. I haven't been too extremely impressed by a lot of the Ivy Leaguers
That's
that
fine. Yeah.
we've
Go
come
ahead. How come?
across.
Why have you not been as impressed by the Ivy League alums?
I think most of the time it's the logo. You're immediately impressed by the logo, so the bar is extremely high, and you can become easily disappointed. And I honestly have been really impressed by the UCLA folks that I've met. Michael, you're one of them.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I love the perspective because I think we don't elevate these conversations enough. And it's great to have dreams. It's great to have favorites. You should own who you are and you should be willing to change your opinion because more data points and changing your opinion is a sign of strength. And we should all embrace that opportunity to grow as human beings. And, I think we think a lot about the collegiate race. And of course, there was the admissions scandal several years ago. And all these wealthy families always trying to game the system and figure out how to be able to put their kids into certain schools because it does really affect the rest of your life. It's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. And that's just an important reality to acknowledge. And the most important piece for anyone is go to the best school for you. And if you're to go to the best school in the world, but you're incredibly unhappy and you're not making friends and you're not able to develop your skills at the best, that is not the best place for you. And so we love beginning to hear these opinions and elevate these voices. And as a Bruin, I love the UCLA love. Go Bruins! And we're always going to constantly try to be able to pick each other's brains and discuss more hot topic trends in education and how can we be able to best help students get to the best place possible in life to provide for their future families. And that's what it's all about here at Subject. You're going through another incredible episode on the subject. I'm your host, Michael Vilardo. Please click like and subscribe below YouTube and Spotify. That's where we really want all the fanhood. We'll have another episode soon. Thank you for joining me today, Anna.
Thank you.